Hello, hello. Greetings, everybody. How you doing out there? We are live. Sorry about that, folks. But I had a dentist appointment today, and I only just about 10 minutes ago got to the point where I wasn't feeling like a chipmunk and talking funny. So it's finally now back to normal, and I'm good to go. So here we are. The tooth I had worked on still feels a little on edge, but that's all right. You know, it happens when you go to the dentist, so no big deal. All right, so here we are. That was the delay. I am sorry for that. So, but here we are with the Hodd. Those of you who remember,
hello everyone,
from the two dim sum lunches
oh,
from Friday and Saturday. Oh God, dude, hey, is that stuff good, dude?
it is nice.
Oh, I love it.
It's very nice. So, yeah. Yep. I the only thing I liked more than that was watching how much you liked it.
I do enjoy it. It's good, man. I love seafood, though. I mean, that's probably another reason why I dig it so much.
Yeah.
Not so much fish, but like shrimp, lobster, and albacore. Which, well, albacore tuna is a fish, but anyway, but like abalone, that kind of stuff. I love all that.
Abalone, yeah.
So
all the sort of all the crustaceans and shellfish and things. Yeah.
Right. Those are all delicious.
Yeah.
I even eat oysters. I mean, I'll get a tin of oysters, dude. People look at me just going, because it opens up and they see what's inside and they're just like, oh, ooh, because I don't know, oysters aren't the most appetizing looking thing in the world, but they're tasty. They're tasty.
But so people say I have a very crude expression to describe oysters, which I won't say tonight, but you're either in the category of you love them or you don't, and the reason I don't like them is I don't understand why people love them. but I think it's partly taste and partly, in the head about whether they're good or not. But if you swallow them, I grew up
in a household where we had them with we'd put them on top of cheese and crackers.
All right. Do you chew them? Do you chew them or just swallow them?
No, we would chew them. I would chew them.
Oh, okay. All right.
Like I said, they're actually kind of tasty. They don't look appetizing. I mean, I'll give you that. They absolutely do not look appetizing in any way, shape, or form when you look at them. But they are. And they actually have like aphrodisiac qualities, or like those kind
of
too
much information.
Or it enhances that sense in you or whatever kind of thing, not like love potion number 9 or funky cold Dina or something like that, but something that, anyways, never mind.
So we'll have to change this segment to making a lover rather than making a murderer.
Say so. Steven's a lover, right?
He is. Yeah. And a fighter. Yeah.
Totally.
When it comes to justice, that's certainly the case.
Linda says hi.
Hello, Linda. I'm sorry I can't see the chat at the moment, so forgive me if I...
Hi, Jay Jax. Hi, Z the Boxing Cat. Hi, Tanya Schenkel. Hello, Martha Dickinson. Hello, Carl Mann. Let's see. Why do you think okay, so J Jax 61 asks right off the bat, why do you think the AAG left the Avery case? I don't know. I was just talking with Mark about that, and I just saw the tweet about 45 minutes ago, and I got home and I was thinking about that. I don't know exactly what to think of it just yet, but it's interesting. It's, I don't know. Are we going to find out that Winter was somewhere involved in the Avery process somewhere or something? Somewhere was a clerk for somebody or something at the time or something. I don't know. Anyway, it ought to be interesting. I'll say that.
I think it'll be interesting from those who enjoy speculating, but it won't surprise us that people are leaving that group. That is the Attorney General's group. It might be for innocent and valid reasons, but it might be for some other more nefarious reasons. But hey, let's wait and see.
Right. Yeah, it'll be interesting. That's what I'm saying. It's going to be interesting to see, or to I guess eventually find out or figure out what it was. But anyway, it's interesting.
Yep.
Let's see what else we got here. Are we talking about oysters on the half shell? Well, I wasn't. I was talking about them out of a tin. But I have seen couples that like to go out for dinner and have them actually on the half shell like that. And for the before mentioned reasons that I brought up, that's why the couples will go out and do that. But I personally was talking about in a can. Sorry. Okay. Do I foresee another extension? I really don't. But it seems to me that the legal minds in this feel that if it was to be asked for, that the odds are they'd get it. And I know that's an answer you all don't want to hear. But that's kind of what the legal minds are thinking. And it all goes back to what I said before. The courts have a real attitude about this of they don't want people coming unprepared. They don't want people being able to go back later saying they felt rushed by the court or whoever and that they couldn't get their case together and try to blame it on that. So they have kind of a default kind of attitude of giving people time as much as they deem reasonable. So the question is, what will they do at this point if it's asked for? Because they've already been given extraordinarily large extensions to begin with. So what will the appeals court think, if they ask again? I think it should be denied. I think they've had enough time, personally. Yeah. They've had plenty of time. I don't know that but like I said, the legal minds seem to be of the opinion that if it's asked for, that the percentages say that they'll probably get an extension. And like I said, I know you guys didn't want to hear that, but sorry.
We'll see.
We'll see what happens.
It's hard to justify it, put it that way. So let's hope that's how the Court of Appeals see it.
Yeah. I mean, I think the first,
or if they do grant an extension, I'm hoping that's the case that they put a time limit on it.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously, this could go on forever.
Double the amount of time that is normally given on a first extension.
Yeah.
I think the first one was double the amount of time. So this time they asked for, I think it was 40 days. What was it? 40? I think it was 40 days.
Yeah.
And that is actually what would be normal for a first extension, right? So it's they're getting a lot of more time than they normally would already. So that's also something interesting to take into account. But like I said, the courts have an attitude about this of they want to give people time to come to court prepared. They don't want people crying foul later about I wasn't able to get my case together and blah blah blah. They want to avoid that whole snafu altogether.
Yeah.
So
all I'd like to see is that
Mandy says night Avery one. Good night or night, Mandy. How you doing? Good night or good evening. Anyway, sorry. Avery one though. That's
I was going to say.
Go ahead.
I was going to say I just would like, if they did grant them an extension, that they just say this is your last one, and put a stipulation on it that no more after this one, rather than this everyone wondering.
That would be good.
But I think that would be fair. They've had plenty of time. Like 90% of Kathleen Zellner's petition has already been before them, before state that is. The new parts of her petition are just a smaller part of the overall thing. So there's no real justification for extending.
Yeah. What do you think of the chat's kind of talking now about the fact that Ken Kratz and Leah, his wife, have deleted their Twitter accounts? Did you hear about that?
Yeah, I did. I don't know what to make of that. I've never really been.
It's interesting.
Unusual man, to say, put it mildly. So there'll be a motive for it. There won't be just because he's not interested anymore. So there'll be some reason behind it.
Well,
But
that's what I'm thinking.
I don't think it.
Well,
I don't think it
there
really
is
goes to anything.
Go ahead. Sorry.
I was just saying I don't think it goes relatively far as Stephen's appeal is concerned. It might be interesting once again from a speculative point of view, but that's about it.
Right. Well, I was just like JJax61 just said. I mean, the timing of it's interesting. Did he think if he deleted his Twitter account that all of his tweets would also be deleted? I mean, I'm wondering if he thought that, or something like that. I mean, it's just interesting to consider why this person who's been running off at the mouth all of this time suddenly wanted to delete their Twitter account. And I mean, Leah is no slouch. She's quite vocal,
Yeah. As I said, there'll be a motive for it. It won't be just without reason. But I don't think, in terms of where we're trying to get this, and that is for a day in court, I don't know that speculating as to his reasons actually adds to the cause, if you like. I mean, it might add to the chance to chat about something, but I don't think it's really important here. So.
Yeah, well, I think it's interesting. And I think eventually the reason for it could be something that's important to the case. That's kind of what I'm wondering.
Yes, I have no doubt.
If it's a precursor
in that sense,
yeah.
I'm sure it's linked. There's no doubt about that. But I don't think we're ever going to really know that until it gets to a day in court.
Until it's upon us.
So.
Yeah.
Hey, by the way, can I just ask you again? I'm sorry to interrupt. Are you hearing my voice okay?
I am. It got a little sketchy there for about 10 seconds because you were moving something around, but it's been okay since.
Yeah. I'm hearing you clearly right now, but occasionally a little kind of interruption, and I'm not sure why that is because I'm using the hotel Wi-Fi here. So.
I am seeing you glitch a little bit sometimes. I will say that I've seen it happen a little bit.
That might be jet lag. So.
So
hopefully it'll be okay. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. We'll see what it is. We'll see what it's all going to be. But I think it's something for us to all be watching out for, something coming down the pike for that. That just seems very interesting to me. Maybe they just want him to shut up before the state's, response comes out. And so maybe somebody has sat him down and had a talk with him, and said, hey, look, we need you to stop. We need you to just not say anything.
Yes.
Right? So.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. It's that sort of a conversation that you wonder what hadn't happened before now. So it wouldn't surprise me if the states said that. So.
Yeah. So anyway, all right, moving on from Kratz.
Kratz particularly, in love with the state at this moment either. So,
right.
But we'll see.
Well, I mean, they certainly don't want to be attached to him because no matter what, even if people agree with what happened to Avery or whatever, they still look at Kratz and go, yeah, but he's still a creepy son.
Yeah, it's like, exactly.
That's no matter, even people that agree with what he did to Avery are creeped out by him. So, I mean, that's the real measure, I think. So, anyways, all right. So, as you guys know, Mark and Sandy Greenman were here with me in lovely Southern California this past weekend. Sandy was happy to be here, leaving behind 7-degree weather in Wisconsin, showing up here in LA where it was a bright and sunny 87 degrees outside. And she was like, oh, I can take off my jacket. And, so she was loving it. And she's like, oh, I don't want to go back. Anyways, it was a lot of fun hanging out with you guys. So it was, Yeah, thanks for coming out and thanks for being here. It was a lot of fun.
Our pleasure. That even though we had a few flurries of snow here today in Wisconsin, it's been a pleasant sunny day in the high 30s, so it's quite nice.
In the high what?
In the high 30s.
High 30s. Right. Let's see. Oh, Linda, there. Let's see. Just seeing if there's any comments here. Okay, so now, hey, Stacy Seabrook joined us. What's up, buddy? How's it going, Stacy? Hello, Wigaholic. Hey, Don Ethan, what's up, buddy? Hey, are you sport? Hey, by the way, Mark, you got the magnet on your rental car there in Wisconsin? Driving around showing that off? Remember the magnet I gave you? Uh-oh.
What?
Oh, you frozen up? Uh-oh. Oh, dang it. Mark's going to have to refresh and come back.
I've got having trouble hearing you.
Okay, I hear you. There you are. Wait.
There we go. So sorry, can you ask that question again when you said, oh, by the way?
What was that? Oh, yes. Do you have the magnet that I gave you, and have you been putting it on your rental car, and have you been showing it off in Wisconsin?
Oh, my magnets back in Australia.
The mammoth. No, the one I gave you before you left here.
Sorry, on my rental car. No, actually, that's an interesting thought. No, I haven't. You're in my suitcase, so there's a thought. Maybe I will do that.
Yeah, dude, show that thing off in Wisconsin, dude.
Past the Manitowoc, park my car out there tomorrow. How about that?
Yeah. And when you pull up into prison,
take a photo anyway.
Parking lot.
Oh yeah, okay. Yeah, there you go. I can do that. I
throw them on. I throw them on when I leave work. I throw them on, and then when I get home, I take them off because I know if I were to leave them on when I walk away from the car, I'm most likely going to end up missing some. So I tend to put them away every time. But yeah, drive around, sport them in there, sport them things, and sport that bad boy in Wisconsin, man, on the ground.
Good. Yeah,
them's your orders.
No, they're good. They're very good. So yeah,
you've been visiting with Stephen, obviously.
Look, and forgive me that I know I've sing for the sound, so I'm hoping you're hearing me well enough, even though your voice is a little broken up for me. If for some reason you don't, just give me a signal and I'll try to stand. But you asked me the question, have I been visiting anyone or anywhere or somebody? I guess probably the most important person I've been visiting is Stephen himself. I saw him yesterday on which is about an hour and a half drive from where I am. We visited him for 3 hours. Stephen's in great spirits, as he always is when I visit him. He's extremely connected in that mental and intellectual sense to the details of his case. He's forever and perpetually grateful to all that they're doing, and I try best I can him know what's going on, so to remember that he can't see all the things that we see or hear all the things that we hear. And even though some supporters send him printouts of different things, it's nothing like the information download we all get every day and what's going on. So I try to, as best I can, keep him up to date with what's going on the outside from a supporter's point of view. And he loves hearing all that stuff.
Yeah.
Interested in what's happening as far as, his family. Obviously, he has family contact as well, not just with me. But I often am here as well, just in communications when that's necessary. And great spirit is looking forward to the 27th of March. He'll be as ticked off as anyone else if the state gets another extension. But he's a tough guy, Stephen. One of the things I've seen other discussions about visiting him, that when you ask Stephen who you think was responsible for the death of Teresa, his answer will always be, he doesn't know. Right?
Right.
And he, like most of us, suspicions or some thoughts about who that might be, but his first reaction always is, I don't know. And the reason why he doesn't know is that he doesn't know. And, I guess within a week or so after she did disappear, he's been in jail, locked up. I forget what day they arrested, the 7th, 8th, or like that, maybe the 9th, somewhere there of November. So the benefit of all that perspective that comes from the great work that's been done by supporters into this matter. So part of my role is to help keep him informed on that, and just chat to him a friend. And because prison's a difficult life, and so he enjoys that company and the interactions that we have. But the simple message is, despite all those words, is that he's very happy, he's very strong, and he's very excited about what 2020 could likely present for him.
Yeah. That's good. So he's holding up well. Obviously, I saw the picture on Facebook of you and him, and he's looking good. And it sounds like he got a haircut. If I was reading that right,
he needs a haircut.
Oh, he needs to get that mop trimmed. I see.
He lets his hair grow sometimes. I told him he looks much better with his shorter cut hair, and he does. He does look a lot better with that, and. But his prison greens, which isn't the most attractive fashion statement, and we're always flattering. Got the same wall ground, and he doesn't see the sunlight like we all do, and so he does look a little bit washed out at times. But that's not how he feels inside here. I can assure you that he's great inside. So yeah. And he's funny. He's really funny to be with. You don't have more than a 20-second conversation going on. So he's a very engaging man.
Yeah. Let's see. There's two things that being asked in terms of Brendan here that I want to just address real quick. One was by Wigaholic asking about a t-shirt company saying they're making shirts for Brendan and that they're donating the proceeds to Brendan, and you were wondering if they're legit. My advice to you is to contact Barb with the information of that company and let her go all, mom on them. And she'll find out where and if the proceeds are going where they should be going. That's my advice. Now, not everybody's like us with Mammothon. They may not go and show you the payments made so that every cent that you donated went where it was supposed to go. Not everybody's going to do that. So I don't know that this company will be willing to do that. So I don't know. But like I said, my best advice to you is to allow somebody who's in charge of Brendan and has in control of his interests to take a look into it and find out if it's legit or not. The other one
agree
here.
With that.
Go ahead.
I would, if you see things like that, and they may well be quite legitimate, but if you're not sure, just take their corporate details and websites and post it on Brendan's family one, and the moderators and administrators there will be able to verify whether that's legit or not for you.
Yeah,
and that would be the best way of doing that. And likewise, if something up for Stephen, go to Stephen's family site, I think, would be the best, because they'll be more in the know about what fund thing back down to the Avery family or Stephen or whatever the intention is.
Yeah. The other one is do you believe Stephen will fight for Brendan when he's released? I know my answer to that will be I believe he will. I believe, but I believe the sheer act of Stephen getting released will be embarrassing for a lot of people who denied Brendan when he was making his run. So I think it's going to be interesting to see what happens, if the courts take seriously what's being put in front of them right now.
Yes,
and do something about it. Go ahead.
Well, yes. Well, if the question wasn't, do I believe whether Stevens will trigger Brendan's release? Was that the essence of the question? I think it was.
Well, it was saying, would he fight for Brendan? Would Stephen fight for Brendan if he was released?
Absolutely. Absolutely, he would.
Yeah.
And I believe that it will trigger, because Stephen's release is going to come from the evidence of the work of Kathleen Zellner, and that weight of evidence effectively, because the crime is allegedly done together, effectively becomes, I would think, perhaps someone who knows better about the law would say otherwise, but I would think would effectively become newly discovered evidence for Brendan. And so I think, Laura Nyrider and Stephen Drizzen would be in there with a post-conviction petition based on that evidence. So,
well, I think it creates problems for Brendan's conviction, because Brendan was convicted of aiding, basically helping the actual person who did this, right? And if said person who actually did this is released and the conviction is vacated, then for me that casts some shade on Brendan's conviction, because, well, who did he help? Right? Who was it he was aiding in this, right? Anyways, so I don't know.
I mean, we know that's the whole stupidity of that is just beggars belief, but they'll charge with effectively a different scenario for this crime, and so anyway, I think the essence, however, is that if Stephen would do anything to help his nephew, and I do believe that Stephen leads the process that would eventually result in Brendan's release.
Yeah, it's like I said, I think anything that happens in Stephen's case only casts more doubt on Brendan's, and in my mind only helps Brendan. So
yeah.
So let's see here. T1's asking, once released, is Stephen planning to take Ma and Pa and leave Wisconsin? And I think the answer to that is no, actually, right? Or do you know?
I'm sorry, Erekose, what did you say about Ma and Pa?
Yeah, the question is, once released, is Stephen planning to take Ma and Pa and leave Wisconsin?
Oh, okay. I think I might have answered this question somewhere else just recently. Stephen's sole focus is on when he gets his mum and dad. So if his mum and dad want to stay in Wisconsin, that's where Stephen will be.
Right.
And they may want to stay locally. A move for them may be a little bit much for them. But my guess that while they're here, he'll stay here. When that fateful day comes when they're not around, which happens to us all, he may hold a different view about Wisconsin. He probably would, I would think. But for the moment, he'll be where his parents are.
I think, honestly,
that's my.
If his conviction gets vacated after being wrongfully convicted in 1985, if he now gets this conviction vacated due to just manifest just impropriety on behalf of the state, Yeah, it's he'll be basically bulletproof. I mean, after making a murderer, after the 85 conviction, and if this thing gets vacated, I mean, if they go anywhere near Stephen Avery with all the attention that will be on him, they're going to be scrutinized to the most minute detail. They will. I think it will be difficult for them to touch him if his conviction were to get vacated, even in Wisconsin.
Yes.
But that's my opinion. So
Stephen's not Stephen's not instinctively a vindictive person. He obviously does and will feel aggrieved, but he won't be out to do anything other than get on with his life.
right.
Any claim he might have, civil claim he may have that may be pursued will be a matter for the lawyers. His focus will be on his mum and dad and his family, and him. He's got a lot of adjusting to do. He's a remarkable person to keep the sanity that he has after being effectively wrongly convicted 32 years. It's just breathtaking. So he'll want to put his energy in getting on with life and looking after his mum and dad. I don't think he'll be particularly focused on law enforcement and things in Wisconsin. That's where his energy will be focused. But I do agree that law
probably
enforcement
on a civil suit, I imagine.
Yes, well, that'll happen as a matter of course.
Right.
But I don't think his emotional energy will be focused on his family, and his getting on with life, and it's a difficult thing for him. I think whatever happens in terms of law enforcement in the county, if he's still down here at that time, and stay down here for a while, I agree with you. I think they'll keep away from him. And should be able to just get on and try to adjust as best he can.
Yeah, anytime they touch him, there's going to be hundreds, maybe even thousands of people that are going to be immediately scrutinizing everything they do. And I mean, they're not going to be able to blow their nose without the details being widely known. You know what I mean? So anyway, so that's the way I think it would be anyway. So so all right. Yeah. So anything interesting? Like, how many times did Stephen beat you at cards today?
Well, actually, on yesterday we had a tie. We had 7 games all. Now, before I got booted out because you're on a time limit of 3.5 hours. So you might think that wasn't many games, but we spent so much time because it's been a while since we'd caught up with each other. We spent so much time of the visit talking about his case and issues that were arising even as recently as this week, on the weekend, and also just what was going on in his life, and he's obviously asked about myself and family and supporters and so on. And I was pleased about one thing I can tell you. I only talk about things with Stephen that I know he's happy for me to talk about because I don't want to breach any confidentiality issues with him. But I can tell you that I've encouraged him to take up drawing while he's been in prison, and he started to do that. So he now has art supplies and he's now doing drawing inside, which is a good piece of therapy for him. And he says even though he's not happy with his standard, he says he finds it quite therapeutic to do it. He just draws things in his cell and just objects that reflect his time in there. So that's a nice thing, and helps him keep a little bit of normality in his life. So
it helps keep your sanity, a little bit of control in a situation where you have none. So So
I remember quite clearly the message from Ryan Ferguson's case about how he works so hard to try to not let the system take over his head, right? And Ryan was only in prison 9. Not when I say only, he was in prison 9 years compared to Stephen's 32, and he still commented, 6 months after he released that he was struggling with having to make this used to being told what to do. So anything that Stephen and Brendan, for that matter, can do to kind of take control of their mind rather than have it being directed at him as part of what is a prison is a good therapeutic thing, and hopefully he'll continue that.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. So, what's it like there in Wisconsin right now? Obviously, you said it having some flurries there. Or?
Yeah, it snowed today. It's cold, but it's pleasantly cold. Those who live in the cold would say it was a nice day.
Yeah, right.
It was sunny, a bit of cloud as well. Obviously cloud earlier when it was snowing, but it was sunny this afternoon, and the temperature got up to where, at least in this part of Wisconsin, got up to about 39 or 40, nearly probably touched on 40 at one point.
Yeah.
So, Wisconsin's an extremely beautiful place physically. You can't and would not want to deny that. It's really lovely. So it's driving along and seeing the snow everywhere and all the rural areas and that. So it's very nice.
That's cool.
And I've just got Lake Michigan out the side of me here, near my hotel. So yeah.
So did you go see Sandy today?
Sandy this afternoon for a little while.
Yeah.
And so we had a nice time. Oh, she's just doing normal Sandy stuff, which is running her home and with her daughter and other things. But she's like Stephen. I mean, a day doesn't pass that she's not talking to Stephen. Probably a couple of times a day, he rings her. She's a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful support for Stephen, and of course she visits him as well.
Right.
And and she's very active and busy on all the social media things associated with the supporters groups. So she's a busy girl and an angel in his life. That's certainly the case.
Right. Yep. Angel of mercy. Yep. There you go.
Yeah.
So
it's been around a long time, since I think I remember asking Sandy how long she'd been associated with all this. She said she came along to Stephen's trial. That's where her first sort of foray into the matter, and she followed his trial and then wrote to him after he was sentenced, and that's how it started. So we're talking about 2007, beginning of 2007. So that's 13 years she's been involved in this matter. Yeah. And she's really largely responsible for getting Kathleen Zellner on board. So
right. Yeah. Right. Yeah. And did you go see the Chases?
No, not yet.
Not yet?
No, I haven't. I only arrived here late on Sunday night. So Monday was down at which was only yesterday, was down at the down at Walpon at the prison.
Right.
It's that turns into a long day because I've got to drive a long way down there. I see Stephen, then I drive back. Usually drop in to see Sandra and Nina to give her a bit of a debrief of how the visit went, and then drive back over from there over here. So that I'm usually not back here until 10 at night, and then I have my own office work to do.
Right. And because the boss isn't looking.
A week, so there'll be other things to do. So, yeah.
Right on. And okay, so have you gone to see Alan yet?
No, but I will definitely be seeing him. If not before, there's a chance I might see him on Thursday, but if not, I'll see him on the weekend for sure. So there's a plan to go and visit him. Yeah, I like catching up with Alan. He's a bit of a rascal. A good one, I should say, not a bad one. So he's fun to be around.
I always liked Alan. He impressed me from watching MAM, the first season of MAM. I was impressed with him. I liked him. So I'm always intrigued to hear about him. So, and did we lose Mark? We lost Mark. So let's see if he's coming back. But anyways, so that's what's going on. We're going to be having Mark back on Thursday night. And I'll probably have him back on again this weekend after he goes and visits Alan, because I actually like to hear about Alan, and so hopefully we'll be able to, have something cool that he can share with us about his visit with Alan. So and probably maybe have Mark on again this weekend. So I wanted to show everybody this real quick, and also wanted to ask everybody to share some recent videos I've been making. This is a shirt that I purchased. Actually, I bought 2 of them. What you're looking at is the California state flag on top, and then the Scottish saltire on the bottom. So, shirt I recently bought. There's a couple of videos on my channel that I just uploaded the last couple of days. They're about the curious death of Willie McRae. It is a true crime thing. It's a true crime, issue. It's a case involving some very nefarious, kind of activity. And so mainly what I was hoping is that I don't necessarily, think everybody needs to, I mean, we'd like it if we could dig into it a bit and find out a little bit more about it, but mainly I'd like for it to be shared on an international basis and be known about on more of an international basis, because it's a very interesting thing that happened, and it's been kind of bottled up for the most part. And I think it really needs to be known, because I think it needs to inform a more overall conversation. So if anybody's inclined, please help share those and stuff, because I really want to get some international attention to the story of Willie McRae, because I am personally impressed with the guy. I think he was actually the type of guy who, even though he became a lawyer and all those sort of things, he was actually looking out for the little guy. It was kind of, so anyway, I have a lot of respect for just kind of the way he was and things he did. In fact, when he died, they planted 3,000 trees in Israel in his name. He'd helped in the Indian independence movement in India. He's an interesting guy. So anyways, if you guys can do that and help me out sharing that one, that'd be great. Obviously we'll be back with Mark on Thursday. As I said, look out tomorrow night. We're going to be with McGilla, right? Oh, hey, there's Mark. He's back. So anyways, so we can continue on, but let me finish what I was saying. So tomorrow night I'll be on with McGilla and Mr. Capaldi. You guys can look forward to that tomorrow night. We're going to be back on again with Mark on Thursday. And as I said, again, probably this weekend again after he goes and visits with Alan. So what's up, buddy?
I'm sorry. StreamYard kicked me out for some reason. I'm not sure whether the internet is that strong here at the hotel. So
when I was in Salt Lake City and stuff, I realized and noticed that these hotels, there's something funny about the Wi-Fi. Maybe it's because it gets bottlenecked because there's so many people in the hotel using one line, or maybe, I don't know, but I've noticed that too in hotels. Yeah.
So, I'm sorry for that short departure, but I'm back. I'm mindful of the time for you and also for the viewers. Were there any other specific things you wanted me to talk about?
I had one fun question. Since I can't have you ask Stephen any like serious questions or anything, or certainly not case related, but I am curious if you can ask Stephen if he has an opinion about Scottish independence. even if his response is what the What's that?
I think that's likely the response you get. You'll probably go.
I mean, I don't know. It'd be funny if it catches him off guard and he says something funny, though. So, anyways, I don't know.
Did you want to talk, or is it going to be later on the week? Did you want to talk about some of the information that's out there recently about, for want of a better expression, the Ryan Hilligas theory?
Right.
Or is that for another day?
If you want to talk about that, we got about 16 minutes. I like to cut it off around an hour, so we could talk for a little bit about it. You're obviously
Okay,
wanting
so
to
let me
talk about the talk from Sunday with McGilla and stuff, right?
yeah. And I would that your broadcast, which included McGilla and Paul Capaldi and who else was
Rule.
with you? Oh, Rule,
Rule.
sorry, yeah, from Holland, um, was fabulous. Really, really, really interesting.
Mm-hmm. Uh-oh.
3 times now.
Here we go.
So I've listened to that whole broadcast 3 times now.
Oh, really?
But here's the point I wanted to make without getting into any issues is that work that McGilla and his other researchers have done that form the basis of that theory is fabulous work, absolutely fabulous work, well researched, well supported, not just a gut feel, based on hard research effort. And what it does for me is, without coming to a conclusion about the validity of McGilla's conclusion, it shows me very clearly how inept and inadequate law enforcement have been at the time, because there are any number of people, of which Ryan has always been one, that were not properly investigated.
Right.
And the work of McGilla and all his cohort of researchers demonstrates what sort of work needed to be done to exhaust the possibilities, not only to prove guilt if that was so, but to prove innocence if that was so, rather than leave all the focus, the comedy of law enforcement focus solely on Stephen Avery. But I would encourage those who have not listened to that Sunday broadcast to go and listen to it, because it's fascinating. Yeah. And I have spoken to Stephen about it when I saw him yesterday, and as best you can relay a story secondhand, because I can't obviously play what was on that when I visit him.
Right.
He was equally as fascinated by what I was telling him. So I should hasten to add that in that theory, in my mind, it doesn't eliminate anyone else who's in the crosshairs at the moment for being involved at some level of corruption or misconduct in this matter that we believe has occurred. So it's just more targeted at a possibility of a perpetrator. Now, Hilligas also deserves the presumption of innocence in any of this, as does everybody. And unfortunately, neither Stephen or Brendan received that themselves. So I'm very cautious about things. But it's a great example of the sort of research that law enforcement should have done. And my hat's off to McGilla and his team of people for the work they've done. It's really, really an eye-opener, especially as he relates it to the work of the scent dogs and the documentation of their behavior. So,
yeah, absolutely. McGilla and the other Redditors like J-Jax here in the chat. You know, absolutely. Even TikTok Manitowoc on Twitter, folks.
Superb work. Absolutely superb work.
Yeah, and McGilla's just really doing some awesome stuff here, folks. I would say my other favorite one with McGilla was the very first one we did. It was like 5 Sundays ago, folks. Go check that one out. Man, he really, really, really dug deep to figure out what's what with these dogs and how they work, how they operate, and all that. He went.
Yes.
He really did a lot of background and really fleshed out his theory there. And so that very first one was another one for me that was just powerful. So if you guys haven't gone and checked that one out, do so.
Yeah. And the compelling facts about it is it's all supported by valid research, right? It's not just a gut feel. It's not a throwaway line. It's not who you like or who you don't. It's really, really well done. And where it's weak, where it's not certain, as a good researcher, what he does and his team does, he identifies whether, hey, this may not be the case, but it's something to consider. So He doesn't try to gloss over the parts of the theory that are not totally tied up in a bow. He acknowledges that might be a weakness in the theory, but it's a great exercise in showing you what should have been done by the law enforcement and wasn't done.
Right.
And why you might think, well, why is that all that important? Well, it's important because the depth of the research helps tease out other circumstances that could give further evidence to the case. And
Right.
without going over what he's done in this recent matter, there are now a series of other players that we hadn't even known of, let alone thought of, that are now teased out by that research that are worthy of investigation. And that's what good police work is, standard operating procedure, as you say. These are the things that law enforcement should be doing, and they've been shown up by
it's only
supporters.
A liability for them if they don't follow SOP. It's only a liability, so they don't want to do that. It's got to be something pretty damn significant to make them want to do it. So especially the number of times they do it in the Avery case. So anyway.
And just for the fun of it, I also went for a little drive down Cuss Road today, just for old time's sake.
Looking for Leo R?
Yeah, I'm sure he was home.
He didn't go poking around by the road, so he didn't come out and hassle you?
No, I stayed in the car. It was a bit cold.
Well, dude, let's get those things like those tennis rackets and go tramping through the snow.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah. I'm sure he would have been out then. So
only he'd been running you down with a snowmobile.
Probably. I went past Mr. Siebert's house and a few other landmark moments and the zippers and all that sort of stuff. It's good. I know you've been there and you know it, so I know you know what I'm talking about. But when you have this visual image of what we're talking about, changes your whole understanding of the case. It's really helpful to physically see these things. So, yeah,
definitely. I know last year you actually sent us you actually did video of going down Cuss Road and all that.
Yeah,
and then
that was.
You got back in the car at one point and said, as I was out there looking around, you explained the whole thing that happened between you and Leo, and it was funny because at that time, the account of him saying that a girl had come to his door that night and all that had just come out, and then you actually bumped into him. It was amazing. Anyway,
that was a bit spooky, really.
Yeah.
So,
So, all right. Well, so what day are you visiting Steve again?
Thursday.
So on Thursday? Okay.
Thursday. I'll see him Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and next Monday. That'll be the days I see him. There are some days.
Well, shoot, that means you're not getting home till late on Thursday and Friday.
Well, I could actually on Thursday. I could broadcast to you from Sandy's for that matter. So.
There we go. All right.
What
do you think?
That's a problem.
Which one's better for you, Thursday or Friday? I mean, Friday night would be good for everybody to look forward to. Something.
Yeah, let's do Friday. That'll be
Friday. Good. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, folks. I'm changing it from Thursday to Friday.
Yeah.
So Friday,
I can have a beer on the table.
Yeah, there you go. A mug, a pint. Anyway.
Yeah.
So so look forward to that, folks. Friday night with the Hodd, talking about Stephen again. We'll find out where Stephen stands on Scottish independence, and
hey, and if people have some questions, hopefully valid and useful ones that they would like to get me to ask Stephen, I'm happy to do that. But don't make them too long because I can't take anything in writing, so I've got to stick it up here. So,
right.
But it could be just trivial stuff, right? It might be, who's your favorite football team, or blah blah blah, whatever. If you've got any questions, I can ask him. So he likes that sort of stuff. Yeah.
Cool. So, and can I count on you, Mark, to share one of the Willie McRae videos, dude? on Twitter or
For
something?
sure, no problem.
Right on, man. Right
Yep.
on.
Yep.
I want the
Yep.
international supporters. So you're my trusty Aussie. So
I see Captain Crunch found his way home in the corner there. I thought I saw him out on.
Oh yeah, he's there. He's back. He's chilling again.
He escaped into Hollywood or into downtown the other day.
He was riding a dragon.
Yeah, that's right. He was. Yeah.
Let me see here. The wiki link to Megillah. So they've got they're showing me a link here. Yeah, I'll open it up. After we're done talking, I'll send it to you in Messenger. It's just a Reddit post, essentially.
Yeah, there's a bunch of those today.
Oh, and it's got basically all of his main presentation things. So, yeah. So I'll send that to you when we're done here. So, all right. Remember, everybody, do me a favor if you can, especially if you're international and you're not in the UK, to please share the Willie McRae stuff. It is true crime, and that's the only reason I'm asking you. So please do. Thank you very much. And we look forward to seeing Mr. The Hodd. Mr. The Hodd. I think I'm going to start calling you that. Mr. The Hodd. Anyway, on Friday night, after he's checked in with Steven again. And like I said, look to catch up with the Hodd here one more time on the weekend after he's caught up with Alan, because I'm very interested to hear about Alan. So that's what to look forward to here, folks. In addition to Megillah tomorrow, with Megillah and Mr. Capaldi tomorrow night. Obviously, Megillah, Paul, and Rule, and I again on Sunday. And who knows what I'll be doing over on my Doctor Who channel in between all that. But you can expect probably 2 or 3 coming out over there as well. So anyways, all right, folks. It's been fun talking to the Hodd.
Thank you, my friend.
Say goodbye to everybody.
Goodbye, everyone. Thanks for listening in.
And thank you, everybody, for being here. If you haven't already, please hit subscribe. And we'll see you.
And I'll see you.
Mark knows the song and dance.